side of the Rocky Mountains. Keep in mind, the boat does not have brakes or reverse, so if you see something pointed out, everybody will look to see what you're pointing at, then we'll try to discuss it. Also, if you want to stand up while we're in the canal system, feel free to do that. Just be careful if you do. There are over 300 different kinds of fish in here and 12 different turtles, and if you watch the water out near the edges, you have a better shot at seeing some of those fish and turtles. Yep, that is a soft-shell turtle that you guys saw swimming on the right side.
There's a fish right there too.
The boat passed it now. Small soft-shell turtle, which is pretty cool. Right up here in front of the boat on the right side, you're going to notice some plants growing in the trees here. If you look back behind these trees, right at the front corner of the boat now, and look in there, you'll see some trees with hundreds of these in them. These are called pink bromeliads, also known as wild orchids, because they bloom like orchids in the springtime. And they're all over South Florida and all over the Everglades. And if you look over your head right in front of the boat here, you'll notice green apples growing in these trees right here. These are actually called pond apples, and these trees are all around you. They're all over the Everglades. And you can eat the pond apple, but there's only one way you can eat it. You have to get the pond apple, go to the bathroom, sit on the toilet, and eat your apple. This saves you a quick trip to the bathroom about 5 minutes later. And if you have a good book with you, you can actually spend the whole day. It's going to require you to enjoy that apple in the bathroom with the apple. When they're yellow, they're edible. When they're green, they're just good natural laxatives and excellent gifts to carry back to special people like bosses and in-laws. Now, you're here during the off season. I'm not sure about my guys from Miami up there, what time you took a tour before, but you're here during the heat of the summer, which means it is nesting season for the females. That means that those 30 females are absent, and you only have an occasional male, which you rarely ever see. This morning, there's been 2 females out, the one that owns this territory and the next territory. We just kind of cruised through the first one's territory without seeing her. That don't mean she won't pop up around us somewhere. We'll see her later. But right now, they go on the nest about mid-June, or 1st of June, and they don't come back out until about mid-September. That's when the babies hatch out and they can come out with the babies. And so if they do come out this time of the year, it's just to grab something to eat, and it's according to what time of the day it is. In the afternoon, it's so hot, they pretty much stay underwater when they do come out, but in the morning, you do see them sometimes. So keep your eyes open. Hot as it is, if you do see one, it's likely to be under a shade tree somewhere back where it's not visible from me, because from up here I can't see underneath the trees. So make sure you watch under the trees on both sides of the boat, see if you can spot anything hiding up in there peeking out at you. river's only about 110 miles long or 220 kilometers long. No land around you anywhere. Out of 1.5 million acres, 80% is what you see. It's called a sawgrass prairie. So if you were to get out of the boat right here, the water's going to be about knee deep or about 40 centimeters deep. And if you were to start walking, you could literally walk for over 1 million acres and never put a foot on dry land. Everything around you is growing in water. Total walk by.
Trey, copy that.
Now, if you had to get out and walk back, would you? Nobody? So you guys have to understand that seeing the Everglades from a boat does not do it justice. This is one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world. Thousands and thousands of bugs out here, insects out here, butterflies, dragonflies, bears, panthers, wildcats, deer, hogs, rabbits, squirrels, raccoons, possums. Everything you can imagine lives in the Everglades. However, from a boat like this, most everything will disappear before the boat arrives. They hear it coming, especially out here in the wide open spaces like this. Even if you take a private boat and go out 18 or 20 miles, still the boat sound precedes you and you don't see as much. The only way to fully appreciate the Everglades is from the water, walking in the water, not in a boat. College students and conservationists spend all day in the water doing research and testing. National Park employees are in the water. Some of their jobs stay in the water all day long. We are in the water a lot. I've been in the water 3 times today already. I will be in the water at least 7 or 8 more times before this day is over with. Walking around, doing things, performing tasks, just different stuff. Famous photographers come from all over the world here to photograph the Everglades. They do not come here to photograph the Everglades from a boat. They walk around in the water all day long with a camera and a tripod and take beautiful pictures out here. It's not as dangerous as you think it is. Because of the territorial issues, the only predator the alligator has is a bigger alligator. And if an alligator comes toward them, they can hear it coming, they can tell how big it is, and they will hide from the bigger alligator. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So the alligator moving through the water is completely silent to humans. You don't even hear it, but the alligators do. So when a human, as a clumsy animal, the clumsy animal that we are, when we jump in the water, we sound like the biggest alligator ever created in the history of alligators. That's what we sound like to the other alligators. They start moving away already. As soon as you start walking, you sound like an alligator motorcycle gang with weapons and a bad attitude coming right at them. They will run and hide from you 90% of the time. You will never see an alligator while you're in the water. The other 10% of the time, well, that's the times you hear about in the newspapers. You don't want to be involved in those 10% of the time. But for the most part, walking through the Everglades is the way to see the Everglades. Everybody wants to take an airboat ride, and that is one of the big parts about this thing, is taking an airboat ride. But understand that many people come out and walk through the Everglades every day. We're going to start back up. We're going to head back over toward the canal system, get back in there where we can slow back down and not scare the alligators away, and hopefully we'll spot an alligator or 2 before we get back. Talk about those pond devils, and now you have the tree on the right front of the boat with the round green leaves, kind of different shades of green. Those are called cocoa plums. They also grow on the Everglades. They're black sweet plums you can just pull off the tree and eat. Then you have the yellow bulbs you're seeing occasionally on the left and right sides of the boat. These are called spatterdock lilies, commonly referred to as midnight bloomers because they only bloom after midnight, and you can eat those. Then you have all this grass. We'll talk about this in a minute after this boat. Morning glories on the left side out there. The grass, the sawgrass, if you pull it by the root looks like a spring onion, but it's sweet and nutritious and full of purified water. So if you bite the end off of it, it tastes like hearts of palm, and you chew it. It just really melts in your mouth, and then you chew on the grass and suck the moisture out of it. There's no way to die of thirst or starvation in the Everglades, guys. Even without weapons or fire, you can survive out here as long as you need. So back in the day, when the Spanish took over Florida, they pushed the Seminole Indians out into the Everglades, and in their minds, they were condemning them to death. They were sending them into hell. I don't see what you're pointing at down there, but I'm trying to spot something in there.
It's a little lizard.
It's a little lizard.
A what?
A lizard.
Lizard, okay. What they didn't know is they were actually sending them out to heaven because there was plenty of food out here and plenty of things to survive on out here. So they did very well. When black slaves would disappear and they could make it to the Everglades. Sorry about the number of alligators, guys. I hope you enjoyed the boat ride anyway. You now have a live wildlife show to attend where you'll see more alligators. You'll also see a small alligator and a small crocodile side by side. Keep in mind, guys, that we do work for tips. That's how we make our living out here, so any tips or gratuities are greatly appreciated. When we do hit the dock, I'll need you guys to sit down before we get there and keep your hands in the...
Listen to me very carefully. I'm not telling you to go up to anything and be nice to it and expect it to be nice back to you. She sees me every day. What I'm telling you is that she knows I'm not here jumping on her, manhandling her. If you do that, you're not going to get this kind of reaction out of her. We're not trying to accomplish that. We're trying to be able to appreciate them up close and personal. This is a beautiful animal, but certainly very dangerous. Did somebody fall in the water? So anyway, basically this animal, powerful, explosive. Notice the throat is closed. The mouth works like a mouse trap. You touch, they close. Your turn, bud. Look, what you see me do here, you're not doing with crocodiles. Keep this in mind, right? Also, if it wants to get up and move, this thing can run so fast and I cannot stop it. 10 miles an hour, maybe for about 30 feet. Where it's running is to the water, not after us. They don't chase you on land, that's not how they work. Listen, a lot of things you'll hear about. In Florida, I've been taught if I'm chased by this, I should run in a zigzag. They can hear fish jump in the water about 100 meters. The eyes, you can see the goggles. Keeps the dirty water out. Keep going. Thank you. Bit in the head, the eyes sink into the skull.
Like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I know. Good, Eduardo. No, as big as you.
Oh yeah, he got it. He was like it.
For 4 of us.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You give me 12 on that. It's same
This is what she's extra.
You gotta get all the angles. See. Look sideways, Pepe, so we can see how big it is.
Mom, you wanna hold him?
No,
Look, it fell asleep.
Aww, it fell asleep. Oh, one eye was open.
Where's her phone?
What's the password? Whose turn is it next? Katie? Katie, you better get over there. Let's go play.
What if he snapped at me?
That's what I was thinking. You say I'm actually.
Oh,
You'll be very comfortable there.
Que no salga él.
Yeah, what? I mean, he's not gonna bite me.
What if it just snapped open?
I'll bite.
His eyes are wide open.
Es suave la piel, ¿no?
She's like, I'm going after that camera.
Vamos a ver el grandote que está ahí a la entrada. ¿Qué tilote soy yo? Tío.
No, nada.
Yo. He tirado agua.